Gentlelady from Arizona, Ms. McSally is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for your testimony today. Look, we know bad actors like Russia have been trying to undermine our way of life, our representative government. Since the days I was at the Air Force Academy in the mid-'80s, we've been studying their tactics, and they evolve over time, but it's still the same intent. I really appreciate the discussion today. I think it's really important. I want to talk about the cybersecurity side of this, not the misinformation side. And one of those states that was hacked was Arizona. I represent Southern Arizona. We've had a classified briefing on this, but as you talked about it, you want to be in the unclassified realm as much as possible. There's all sorts of media reports out there, but what can you talk about, Undersecretary Krebs, in this open forum about what happened in Arizona? I know you weren't there, but what your organization knows about what happened in Arizona, when, how it was detected, who was informed, what was learned from it, and you know, the lessons learned going forward. I just think there's a lot of confusion in the media, and it'd be helpful to clear that up.
So thank you for the question, and I'll go ahead and offer off, you know, at the beginning that we come in and provide a bit more of a detailed conversation for you. In fact, for Arizona, it's one of the more challenging situations because it wasn't necessarily related directly to Russian activity. There secretaries of state, election officials, by their very nature, are natural risk managers. They deal with hurricanes, power outages, civil unrest, and criminals that want to get access to personally identifiable information that may reside within voter registration databases. So every attack, particularly those that or incident that we've seen over the last couple months even, it's not always Russia. And that's one of the unfortunate aspects of the climate right now, is that every time you see some sort of disruption, whether it's intentional, malicious, accidental, everyone's jumping to the conclusion of it's Russia. There are things that happen on a daily basis in elections that just happen.
So in Arizona, can you just be clear? I mean, and by the way, in Russia, criminal elements are often acting on behalf of the state.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's not be fooled.
But we do have criminals here in the United States as well. So at this point, given the kind of confidential nature of some of these conversations, I can't get too much into the Arizona piece. But again, I'd like to follow up with your office on that and see.
Yeah,
provide you a little
and
bit
I
more
would like to let,
information.
again, the key of openness and transparency so people understand, and it can help build their faith in the system that nothing was manipulated, but what's been learned from it and what are we doing going forward.
Yes, ma'am.
And again, we understand that in all the hacks that did happen, nothing was manipulated, but it doesn't mean it couldn't have been manipulated. And just because it hasn't happened yet in 2018 doesn't mean it can't happen between now and Election Day, if they choose to, right? Threat equals capability plus intent. And even though someone can cast a provisional ballot, if a zip code was turned around and jumbled up, or their street address, if we don't know that that happened, then the provisional ballot will be thrown out. Or if their voter file was deleted, they'll cast a provisional ballot, it'll be compared, and they say it's not a voter, and it'll be thrown out. So just the, you know, I have a concern about the detection and the swift capability moving forward for this election and beyond. Because on Election Day, if the lines are getting longer and people are hearing something's not right, that in and of itself meets the intent of the enemy, right? That they're sowing confusion and discord. So can you just talk a little bit about that? Because again, just because they haven't done it yet doesn't mean they can't do it tomorrow.
That's 100% right. And that's why we're not necessarily looking back at specifics. We are looking back at the specifics of 2016, but given our broader understanding of the IT environments that support elections, we are looking at more broadly where the vulnerabilities are just in the system in general, and what are the things we can do to address those vulnerabilities broadly. It's not just Arizona, it's obviously all 50 states. So the thing that I will reiterate is we are seeing, as I've traveled across the country through primary season, I am continually impressed by the level of seriousness that secretaries of state and state election directors are paying to this issue. They want more information. They want more threat information. They want more information about how they can understand and manage their risk.
Great, thanks. And look, we manage all this at the county level. We do have our Secretary of State role as well. We're from Arizona. We're generally skeptical of the federal government being involved in anything. We're very independent-minded. And so how is your relationship with the state there and the understanding of the role that you have while still allowing this to be localized and distributed, which is where it belongs?
So we do have a relationship with Arizona. We're engaging on a regular basis. I think, as I mentioned, they're a member of the Election Infrastructure ISAC. Every state's different. Every architect of a system is different. The threat model is going to be different. And Arizona is different than Rhode Island. So,
I look forward to following up with you. My time
ma'am.
has expired, but specifically, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
So it yields a